Hi Shelby, how are you today?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. So for today's session, I would just like to start off with you telling me a little bit about yourself, and then maybe you can also share what brings you in today and how I can be of help to you.
Okay. Um, so I am in high school. I'm in my junior year. I am in kind of a lot of classes right now just because applying to colleges and stuff like that. And so it's just like a really stressful kind of time in my life. And so I guess what kind of brought me here was our school counselor. Obviously, like I've been seeing her more just because like we're applying to colleges, and I kind of have just like some social anxiety like issues just because like I don't like really like public speaking. I like talking to my friends and things like that, but like I don't like putting myself in uncomfortable situations or like situations where I don't feel like I necessarily know what to say. Like I can get kind of like awkward really fast or uncomfortable, and I will just kind of like clam up and not really say anything. And like even with like presentations in class, I'll either talk really fast or I'll get like really shaky and like red and things like that. But so my counselor, because I was kind of talking to her about it with my colleges, because I didn't know if like that would like, I don't know if I'd be able to go away for school because I don't know if I'd like, I don't know if I'd be able to make friends or like go out of my way to like be like outgoing or anything. And I don't know if I just would want to like stay home and like live at home, but then I want to like kind of move on and like try and like work through this. I don't know. So it's just like she recommended that I talk to somebody besides her, I guess.
Okay, so what I hear you saying is that you have a little bit of social anxiety, and public speaking makes you uncomfortable and feel awkward and things like that. And I understand public speaking can be a little bit difficult at times. Um, Are public speaking the only situations in which you feel uncomfortable, or is there any other situations where you feel that way?
I guess public speaking is just one of them, just because we do like a lot of that in class. So it's like we'll have like a lot of presentations and but like I guess other things would be like I won't really go out of my way to talk to other people who I don't know that well. So like I'll talk to my family, I'll talk to my friends who I'm comfortable with and things like that. But like if I don't really know someone, like I guess for example, like in class when we get partnered with random people and if like I don't really know them that well, like working on a project with them is a little bit hard just because I sort of just like get nervous and anxious around them, and I don't know, it's just like, and then especially I mean that and then like I mean even if I like go to the mall or something, like I won't really like I'd rather like just not go, like I'd rather just like online shop or something like that because I don't want to be in the big crowds.
Okay. So, and I hear you saying that you have friends.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I have two really good friends and we've been friends since we were younger, so I think that's a big thing of it too. um, it's just like the three of us most of the time, like we're just really good friends. I guess I like talk to people in class, but I'd rather be with my friends, and it's just like easier with them, and I don't have to like be worried about anything because I know they're not going to judge me, and they already know everything about me, so there's nothing to like be worried about when I'm with them, I guess. So
Okay. And are these friends girls, boys, or
they're girls,
girls?
Amanda
Okay.
and Stephanie,
Okay.
and they're just like good people, and they're always like there to listen and everything like that too. And I think kind of like it's different talking to them than it would be to someone who doesn't know me. So it's just like they know my like day to day life, but and I think because they know me so well, they don't really necessarily understand like the struggle with like talking to people because they they're really both outgoing and things like that, and like they have other friends too, but
Okay.
so it's just things like that.
And do you have any siblings or?
I have an older brother and a younger sister, and
Okay.
my older brother's in college, and he went away for college. So I don't really see him that much just because he's not here, and my younger sister is in middle school, so it's kind of like a bigger gap between us. But I think seeing my older brother away at school too is just like it like motivates me to want to go away, but then like I don't know if I would like just stay inside my shell and then I wouldn't have like a good time at college. And that's why like I would consider staying home and just like living at home because that's what I'm comfortable with, but I don't
Okay.
know.
Okay, so I see here that you mentioned again that so you feel uncomfortable speaking to strangers, whether it be at the mall or even in the classroom. You sort of prefer being with your friends that you know since you've known them that since you were younger, and that makes sense because obviously when we grow up with someone, we develop, that we establish that rapport and that close relationship. So I understand that. It's nice that you have an older brother and younger sister. Even with the big gap, at least, having a sibling is always helpful to have somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit more of what feelings you have now with this issue and what you would like to have in the future?
So I guess it's like right now I just get easily like overwhelmed and anxious, and it's just I don't know. I get more nervous when I'm doing things that I'm not comfortable with and things like that, and um, it's just it's harder, and it's like I want to do these things, but the anxiety that I get from it kind of stops me from doing it. So I want to, I guess, ultimately, I don't know if it'll ever necessarily go away, but I would like to kind of come up with ways to deal with it better so that I could make new friends or go away to school where I wouldn't have to have people I know all the time, like around me, where I could just like do things on my own and like step out of my comfort zone.
Okay, I see. So in a future place, imagine that you have achieved all these new feelings that you want. So you want to be more comfortable, you want to be able to cope with this, and just be able to do more things on your own. So what sort of things in the future would let you know that you have gotten to that place? What sort of things do you think would tell you that you have achieved this new place where you want to be, and how would you feel, and how would even those who are around you, like your friends, what would they notice is different about you?
I think initially I would probably have more friends at school. Even if they weren't like my best friends, I would just have like more people that I would like talk to in class and things like that. Um, I probably wouldn't feel like I had to say no to like plans and stuff like that, and I would just be more, I guess, spontaneous too, because I wouldn't feel as though I was gonna be uncomfortable or nervous, and maybe more just like stepping out of my comfort zone and just doing things instead of being worried about it. Um, and so I guess like that would be like the first thing, just like saying yes more and doing more things and like talking to more people, and then maybe I guess especially too because I would maybe choose to go away to school and things like that, and just maybe go like especially a place where I like maybe don't know that many people, so then I'd almost be forced to also like make new friends. But yeah.
Okay, so I see that you ultimately would like to make more friends, be more open and more spontaneous, and sort of shift from saying no all the time to being, like I said, more spontaneous and saying yes. So I see that those are all things that you would like, and they are achievable. Um, I see that is a fair goal to have.
Mm-hmm.
So right here, I have a scale, and I want you to picture or draw yourself on this scale of where you think you are right now.
Okay.
you can either think of this side as being the worst
Mhm.
or this side being the worst, whichever way you want to
Okay.
see it, and then the other side would be the best.
Okay.
So where do you think you are right now?
If this is the worst, maybe like right here. Yeah.
Okay. So you think you are right here, a little bit more towards the bottom. What do you think, what kind of skills or emotions do you see around this area in which you are in that have sort of shifted you from being way at the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
and then also the feelings that you have here that have held you back from sort of growing towards the upper part of the scale?
So I guess it's like I'm not as anxious as I could be. I have friends. I like I guess I know how to communicate. I can be in social situations, and I'm not like someone who absolutely has to be like shut out from that and like on my own all the time. So I think it's like things like that that help me from being totally just at the bottom and just in like my worst place ever, where like I probably wouldn't talk to anybody. I probably wouldn't like reach out. I probably wouldn't even try and like help myself. But I think also that anxiety and that uncomfortableness and that just like worry about things probably puts me down there rather than up higher. And that's like the things that I would want to work through.
Okay. So I see that you have been coping sort of really well. From what you just mentioned to me, you said that if you were at the bottom, you would be isolated. You wouldn't have any friends, and you wouldn't know how to be in social situations. And you're not there, so that's really awesome. And obviously you're here, so that shows that you want to change, and there is hope and motivation in you. So that's awesome. So you do have some friends. You can be in social situations, like you said. You would just like to be more open and sort of learn how to communicate better with strangers and be more spontaneous. I see that you mentioned that you have some anxiety and some fear here, and that's kind of what's holding you from getting up higher on the scale. So can you now share with me some goals or maybe some short-term goals or some feelings that you're hoping to achieve in the short term that can move you up towards the continuum of the scale, and then maybe also what skills you think you will have when this problem is at its best?
So I guess at its best, I would have more friends. Just in general, maybe not best friends like I have now, but just more, even just acquaintances. I would probably not get so nervous about public speaking. Maybe even just practicing more in front of other people would help. I think that I would like to, kind of like I said before, like probably be more spontaneous, like make more plans, like go out of my way to do things rather than just saying no or like being nervous about something that something might go wrong or something might happen, instead of like banking on those might happens, just like kind of throw those out the window, or just like trust the people that I'm with. And I guess between like where I am now and that, I guess it would just be a lot of practice and maybe like coming up with strategies and like maybe even, I mean, if absolutely necessary, like even making like a pro con list of like, okay, like if someone asked me to do this, like what are the good things that are come out of it? Like what are the bad things that could happen? And kind of like just like weigh it out myself and just like maybe like make myself more comfortable with it.
Okay, awesome. So I see here you have talked about some really good goals that you have thought about, and I think that they are very appropriate for the situation. Um, so you mentioned strategies, which is great, and I think you even hit on some that I think are great, such as focusing on the good, trusting in yourself, which is always good, um, making a list even of pros and cons of certain situations that you'll be in is also good, and practicing, such as practicing public speaking, which I know that you have trouble with, is also another good strategy to use to move up. And then I also heard that you said that at your best you would have more friends, even if they're acquaintances. I think that that's great because, especially since you mentioned that you would like to go to college on your own, maybe your friends who you're close with, I don't know, maybe they're going to be going to a different college. Right. They might be going with you. But either way, having acquaintances is always a good thing because you never know when somebody can offer something good to you and vice versa. Being more spontaneous and more social and being able to talk to strangers and public speak would also be at your best. And I think that the strategies that you mentioned here are a great way to start that. So going back to some of the first things that we talked about here, we discussed where you are now. We discussed some strategies that you have thought about. Can you tell me a little bit more about the emotions and the actions that you are thinking about taking short term? How will that make you feel towards achieving a better place in this?
So, assuming I actually put my goals and strategies into action, I would probably be happier, I would assume, just because I wouldn't be so worried all the time about things. I would be able to function probably better in social situations and just in general. I think I would be more comfortable and just less anxious and nervous and not worry so much. And I think my friends would probably see a difference in me too, and my family, and they would probably, I don't know, they would probably be less, even they would probably be less worried about me, I don't know, just in general, because if I was scared about doing something and then I did it, they probably wouldn't have to worry that something could go wrong or whatever, just because I would worry, but I wouldn't have to if things got better. And then I think especially with college and things like that, I could get a random roommate if I go through that, and they could be a really awesome person. So then if I kind of come up with better strategies and things, that'd be really cool, because I could be missing out on a lot that I have no idea just because I don't say yes to things, but I think that could be really cool just to kind of work through some of that.
Yeah, so you said missing out. So can you elaborate a little bit on that for me?
So I think especially in high school, because I think thinking about that scale, I think where I am now, in the beginning of high school, I probably would have been a lot lower, just because high school is scary enough going in at first. And so I think now, I think even then I've come up more, but I think in the beginning especially, I think I missed out on things even school events and football games and school dances. I wouldn't want to go because I didn't want to have to talk to other people and decide what to do in those situations, or what if I did something wrong, or what if someone thought I was doing something wrong. And I think that I probably would have had a lot better experiences and probably met a lot of different people that I may not get to know as well now. But so I think there's just some events and experiences that I probably didn't get to join in on, that if I didn't have this problem, it would have been a lot better.
Okay. All right. So, like you said, missing out was way at the bottom. But I would like for you to notice how you are here today and how you're not way at the
Mhm.
bottom anymore. You say you feel that you're here now. So you have been coping and you're using different, starting to think about using different strategies to even keep moving up towards the scale
Mhm.
a little bit more. So I think that that is really awesome. And these are all strategies that are going to definitely be beneficial for your situation. So again, just to reiterate, I think focusing on the good, trusting in yourself, um, knowing that you have friends and that there are people who are willing to get to know you is a good thing. And things like practicing with public speaking is also a good strategy. And then you also mentioned writing out like pros and cons, something so that you can see it in a concrete way. Um, may motivate you to be a little bit more spontaneous and try different things. So I think that these are all really great strategies, and overall, I think that we're having a really good start. And maybe for the next session, you can come back and tell me a little bit more about what sort of strategies that you talked about today you maybe implemented after you leave here today.
Yeah.
So before we end this session, is there any other thing that you would like to share with me or any other questions that you may have?
I mean, I guess just in general, I have a pretty good support system too. Like my family's always there for me, and my friends are there for me, and like people are like kind of always looking out for me. So I think like having that too will kind of help me because they'll be able to help me with what I want to do and kind of like push me and motivate me to like be better and be able to just kind of like push myself. So I think also if I reach out to them and kind of tell them my plan, they'll be able to also like help me in different ways that I might not be able to see, and just kind of like maybe even like they'll be able to see something that I can't see from my point of view, and maybe just things like that. But I mean, I guess my biggest question probably would just be more for like myself is like kind of I guess how to get started. But I mean, I probably would want to start with just like my classmates since I see them every day, and just like maybe getting more involved at school, especially like since we're getting older, like prom is in the spring and we have like basketball games and stuff like that, so like we could go to those, and maybe just like making like one goal for myself like every day to like do something new or like try something that I haven't done before or like try something that I'm usually like uncomfortable with.
Yeah, I think that is really great. I think that, like you mentioned, you have close friends, and the fact that you have your family supporting you and they love you unconditionally, I'm sure, is just another great reason for you to sort of get rid of this anxiety and fear, or not maybe get rid of it right away, but lessen it and help you to think that you have a great support system. And then as far as the question that you had for yourself of how you're going to get started, I think that is a really good starting point for you as well, because like we talked about, these strategies, right after you leave today, you can even just choose any of these strategies that you yourself mentioned and start implementing them, maybe just one day at a time. And maybe next session that you come, you can share a little bit more of how those strategies worked for you.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Shelby.
Thank
and
you.
I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you.